Welcome, friend of mine. You being here sparks happiness, though I must admit a subscribe would ignite full-blown celebration mode. Let's jump right in. Here's a high-quality, fully rephrased retelling of your text. Every sentence and paragraph has been carefully rewritten while preserving the meaning, narrative style, and emotional tone. This version ensures originality without losing the impact of the original story. Last Tuesday night, I stepped through the door after another long day at the office, my hand clutching the same worn leather briefcase I'd carried for the past 5 years. As I entered, I saw Jenny standing in the middle of the living room beside a suitcase. Her coat rested deliberately across the arm of the sofa, as if she'd arranged the whole scene in advance. "Connor," she began, skipping any pleasantries, "we can't keep fooling ourselves. Whatever this is, it's all routine now. I feel like I can't breathe." I set the briefcase down with deliberate care and stared at her. "So this is how it ends? You've packed your things before we've even had a conversation?" She shifted her weight, eyes glued to the hardwood floor. "I need change. I want to feel something again. I want someone who doesn't just play it safe." I brushed past her and sat heavily on the couch. "That sounds like the blurb on a cheesy romance novel," I said. "So who's the guy?" Her lips pressed into a thin line. "There's no one else." "Then maybe explain why your phone's lighting up with a rideshare alert." I nodded toward the table where her screen was glowing. "Couldn't have planned this better." Color rushed to her cheeks. "You're twisting everything. We've drifted, Connor. You've disappeared into work and the TV. I can't keep watching my life vanish in the background." I leaned forward, elbows on my knees. "You want excitement? Fine. Just don't paint this as some kind of self-discovery. You've already decided." Her fingers curled around the suitcase handle. "I don't owe you more explanations. You'll never understand." "You're probably right," I said, standing up. "I don't get throwing away a marriage like it's last season's trend, but I do know the law. I'll be calling Claudia Varela first thing tomorrow to draft the paperwork." Her eyes widened. "That's it? You're not even going to try to stop me?" A short laugh escaped me. "Fight for what? Someone who already had one foot out the door? That's not strength, that's desperation." She didn't reply. The door shut quietly behind her. By the next morning, I was seated at my desk with a clean notebook and a black pen. No pacing, no drinking. Just focus. Step 1. Separate the bank accounts. Step 2. Cancel the joint credit cards. Step 3. Contact legal counsel. By 9:30 a.m., I had already alerted the bank, closed every shared line, and rerouted my direct deposit to a newly created personal account. At 10 hours on the dot, I left Claudia a voicemail. She returned the call 30 minutes later. "Connor," she said, direct and businesslike, "I'll have the separation agreement ready by the end of the day. If she's that ready to go, she'll sign quickly. I'll need a complete list of your assets by noon." "You'll have it in half an hour," I replied. The file was already scanned and organized. Savings, retirement funds, even the lease agreement. At 11 EOW, I called our landlord, Silvio Marquez. "I'm terminating the lease early," I told him. "There's a penalty for that," he said. "That's fine. Just give me the move-out date." "Next week should work," he said. "Didn't expect this from you, Connor. You were always reliable with rent." "I still am," I answered, "just from a different location now." By lunchtime, the movers were confirmed for Friday. I had already signed a lease on a modest 2-bedroom house 10 minutes from the office, far less expensive than the downtown apartment Jenny had once insisted was perfect. During my break, a message from her popped up. "I hope we can talk." This isn't easy for me either. I read it once and deleted it. There wasn't anything left to discuss. That evening, I packed with purpose. Half the clothes were already gone, which made things simple. Shirts folded, boxes labeled, books arranged by category. No hesitation, no looking back. By the time I zipped the last duffel, the apartment felt hollow, more like a waiting room than a home, which in truth, it had been for a while. 7 days later, I turned the key to my new place for the first time. For the first time in years, everything inside was mine and mine alone. The next morning, I left at exactly 7 a.m., pulling into the office lot just 10 minutes later. No more hour-long commutes. No errands to run for Jenny. Just open roads and clear direction. At work, even my manager took notice. I was showing up early, dialed in, more efficient than I'd been in months. The shift in environment was already paying off. That night, Victor gave me a call to ask if I was up for a late-night pickup game. It had been several weeks since I'd last picked up a game, but this time, nothing stood in my way. I showed up, no strings attached. We played straight through till 10. No distractions, no expectations. Just the rhythm, the sound, and the kind of atmosphere where your mind finally quiets down. Later that night, back at my place, I finally set up the soundbar I'd bought ages ago but never opened. One click and it was done. No debates, no second opinions. The bass hit the walls like rolling thunder. Jenny used to call stuff like that frivolous. But in that moment, it didn't feel wasteful. It felt like freedom. Lying in bed afterward, a quiet realization surfaced, something she never wanted to admit. What she'd labeled as dull had actually been peace. And peace, I was learning, didn't mean empty. It was full, just in a quieter, deeper way. It wasn't long before the rumors found their way to me. One afternoon, Maria from client accounts leaned toward my desk with a knowing look. "Connor, I ran into Jenny over the weekend. She wasn't alone. Tall guy, sharp suit, expensive watch, the whole package. Looked like he belonged in a magazine ad. Know anything about him?" I gave a small shake of my head. Not my concern anymore. That evening, Victor filled in the blanks. His name's Darren Holt. Calls himself an entrepreneur. Says he's building a health tech app that, far as anyone can tell, doesn't exist. Just rides on credit and charisma. I wasn't surprised. Jenny always had a thing for flash, even when it lacked substance. 2 days later, I got a voicemail from my landlord, Silvio Marquez. "Hey, your wife came by, asked if I had a forwarding address for you. I said I didn't. Figured you'd want a heads up." That sealed it. She hadn't just moved on, she was trying to loop back in, looking for an angle. A few days after that, I got an alert on my phone. Someone had attempted to add me as a guarantor on a store credit account. The request was immediately denied. I'd frozen my credit the day after she left. I forwarded the notice straight to Claudia Varela. She called me within the hour. "Smart move, Connor. This kind of paper trail is gold. Keep every piece of it. If she, or anyone tied to her, tries to drag you into financial messes, we'll have proof you took the right steps early on." "Thanks, Claudia," I said. I had the feeling this wasn't over. That night, I sat in the stillness of my apartment, watching the last of the daylight stretch shadows across the floor, and none of it caught me off guard. Jenny had walked away claiming I was too predictable, too safe. Yet, less than a month later, she was entangled with a guy whose whole life seemed stitched together with illusion. What she called boring had actually been the thing keeping her steady. And now, that same boring was what kept me from sinking with the ship. She showed up on a Thursday. I'd just stepped into the lobby of my office, coffee in hand, when I heard her voice. "Connor?" She stood by the reception desk, hair immaculate, heels sharp, but the look in her eyes told a different story. I didn't break stride. "You shouldn't be here." "Don't do this," she said, trailing behind me. "You're shutting me out, and it's not fair. I just need one favor, a signature. Darren's finalizing a deal and—" I stopped in my tracks and faced her. "A signature? Like the one someone tried to slide onto a store credit application under my name? The one that got blocked because I had the foresight to freeze my accounts?" Her face paled. "That wasn't me. Darren just needed a little help getting started. You're treating me like I'm the villain here. You left with your bags packed and a speech rehearsed. I don't see you as a villain, but I'm not your fallback plan either." Her voice softened, eyes wide. Connor, this is cruel. After everything we had, I cut her off. You traded stability for sparks. You chose the thrill. Now you have it. Don't ask me to co-sign the disaster. By now, 2 security guards had drifted nearby, keeping an eye on us without intervening. She glanced at them, then back at me. So that's it? You're just walking away? I stepped toward the elevator. You already did. As the doors opened behind me, I looked back one last time. And if you come here again, it won't be security who asks you to leave. It'll be me. Later that night, I joined some co-workers for dinner. Across the table, Camila Duarte from Ops laughed at something someone said. Light, genuine. When our eyes met, she smiled. No games, no baggage, just a moment of ease. And for the first time in a long while, I remembered what it meant to simply breathe. By the time week 4 arrived, the Darren Holt craze had fizzled out completely. Rumors spread like wildfire in our circles, and soon enough, everyone was talking. One evening after practice, Victor called. You'll want to hear this, he said. Darren's wellness company had completely collapsed. The money dried up almost overnight. Backers pulled out, and just like that, he disappeared, leaving Jenny buried in debts she couldn't handle alone. I wasn't shocked. Jenny always mistook flash for substance. The next night, a text popped up from a number I didn't recognize. Connor, it's me. I need to talk. Everything's falling apart. Darren's gone. I'm drowning. Just one meeting, please. I stared at it for a few seconds, then deleted it. But she didn't stop there. Different numbers, same frantic messages. Always desperate, always pleading. Eventually, I relented, with one condition. It had to be in public, broad daylight. A noon meeting at a busy cafe. Claudia Varela had already advised me to record everything, just in case. Jenny showed up late. She wore sunglasses, but they didn't hide the wear and tear. The polished exterior she once wore so proudly had started to crack. Sitting across from me, her voice wavered. I screwed up. I thought Darren was legit. He wiped me out, emptied my accounts, sold my car, maxed all my cards. I'm months behind on rent. Connor, we need to revisit the divorce terms. I wasn't in the right headspace when I signed. I kept both hands on the table, steady and unmoved. You signed them because you thought you'd landed better. Now you want to undo the damage. That's not why I'm here. Her tone turned sharp. Are you really this heartless? After everything we had, you won't even help me get back on my feet? I leaned in just enough to make sure she heard me clearly. You'll get one thing from me, a no-contact agreement. You sign it and you stop dragging me into your chaos. That's the last piece of paper you'll ever receive from me. She froze, then pushed her chair back. You'll regret this. I stood as well. No, Jenny, you will. For the first time in a long while, I didn't feel like the boring guy who'd been tossed aside. I felt like the one who saw the storm coming and built a shelter before it hit. A week later, Claudia rang from her office. She tried mediation, she said, sounding unimpressed. Claimed the divorce was rushed, said she deserves more. But we've got everything. Frozen accounts, locked credit, texts where she acknowledged the terms. It didn't hold up. Good, I said. I want her gone for good. That evening, while unpacking books in the living room, the doorbell camera activated. There she was, Jenny. Her hair was a mess, jacket wrinkled, eyes bloodshot from sleepless nights. Didn't take long to guess how she found me. She must have followed me home. Classic Jenny, no boundaries, no shame, still grasping for something. She knocked, then knocked harder. I opened the door just enough for the camera to catch her face. You're trespassing. Leave. Connor, please, she said, eyes wide. I've got no one. Darren's gone. I'm sleeping in someone's car. You're all I have left. I kept my tone level. You had me. You decided I wasn't what you wanted. That choice came with consequences. Her hands shook. I thought I needed excitement. I thought I wanted something new. I was wrong. I need something stable. I need you. I almost laughed. Stable? You mean the life you mocked? This isn't about love. You're just looking for someone to bail you out. And I'm not your safety net. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Can't we at least stay friends? I stepped out onto the porch, making sure the camera had the full view. Friends don't fake legal claims. Friends don't forge signatures on financial documents. Friends don't call you dull and then come crawling back when everything falls apart. She didn't move, hoping I'd crack. I gave her a truth she'd remember. Congratulations, Jenny. You're officially part of the regret your ex demographic. Just another statistic now. She visibly sagged at that, like the words knocked the breath out of her. Without another word, she turned and walked off, vanishing into the dark. After that night, there were no more texts, no surprise visits, just silence. At last. A week had passed when Claudia informed me that Jenny had consented to the no-contact arrangement, likely realizing it was the final barrier before legal consequences came into play. The agreement gave her exactly what she'd insisted on having all along: freedom. No alimony, no entitlement to assets. Just her signature on the documents and a promise to stay away. Things grew quiet again, and that quiet was more comforting than I'd expected. At work, Harold Benton caught me in the hallway and pulled me aside. "Connor, whatever's changed in you, keep it up. Our performance is improving, the clients are happy, and I haven't seen you this focused in years." His comment stuck with me. Something inside aligned, as if a gear finally locked into place. 2 evenings later, I had dinner with Camila Duarte. There were no expectations, no rush to name whatever this might become. Just good food, easy dialogue, and for once, not a single mention of money troubles or buried resentments. Her laughter came easily. When she asked about my new place, there wasn't a hint of judgment, no mental calculation of how much it might be worth. On the drive back, she turned toward me and said, "Connor, you don't seem boring at all. You strike me as someone who knows exactly where they're headed." I had to laugh at that. Funny, considering what I'd been told not so long ago. Just a month earlier, Jenny had left in a storm, hurling criticisms, said I was too reliable, too monotonous. And then, 30 days later, she reappeared, unraveling, desperate, a living echo of every late-night think piece I'd read during the sleepless weeks after she walked out. But the remorse she wore wasn't mine to carry. That burden belonged solely to her. Back inside, my home remained just the way I liked it. Clean, quiet, entirely mine. No shouting matches, no chaotic energy bouncing off the walls, no relentless expectations. Only stillness. I poured a glass of wine, let the music fill the room, and eased into the chair by the window. For the first time in what felt like forever, I didn't feel compelled to justify the way I chose to live. Maybe it didn't qualify as exciting, but it had kept me steady while she chased thrills that only left wreckage behind. And in that moment, it was clear. This was the best conclusion I could have ever wished for.